What's going on, Jeromes? We're here. Happy Thursday out there, everyone, everywhere. Thirsty Thursday, as it were. Daily Jerome's live stream. So we usually go at 11 a.m. Central Time, but headed to an undisclosed location this afternoon, which means huge news, big, huge, is going to break because that's what always happens. So Kirk Cousins will get traded to the Niners for a first and a second, and not Jimmy Garoppolo. Never, never, never. So we got Q&A. We're going to hammer through. It's going to be a good day. Let's get it going. First up, Edwin McCain. And I'll be... It's a deep cut. Edwin McCain. Thoughts on bringing Barr back as an edge rusher and drafting Micah Parsons in his place? Well, so we've gone for a full circle around this, where Anthony Barr, back in the day, back at UCLA, was a prodigious defensive end. But the fact that he hasn't played full-time hand in the dirt DN since... 2013. I don't know at this stage of his career he would transition very well, because they had worked him before. Was it 2 years ago, where he was working with assistant D-line coach Robert Rodriguez at defensive end? Just never really panned out. They use him for a handful of plays, but as a full-time transition, I don't see it. But I mean, Parsons could be on the board at 14 because of the relative value of off-ball linebacker. Plus, some teams may not like his off-the-field stuff, so it may be a decision. And, if it comes to that, fine. I mean, just make it work, because Barr, if he's going to be on the roster by the draft, he's going to be on the roster, because 7.5 of his $12.3 million base salary is guaranteed on the third day of the new league year, March 19th. So they'll have to make a decision. Evica Sconaway. Did you hear about the Bears signing Mike Pettin? Do you think they can help them finally beat the Packers? It's possible. Where I actually do think that. So Jerry Gray, who was a Vikings DB coach from 2014 to 2019, phenomenal, great coach, great teacher, but he and Zimmer decided to part ways. He went over to Green Bay, and I think he really helped with the development of Jair Alexander. Plus, I think week one, he was instrumental in the game plan, both offensively and defensively, and the Vikings got bushwhacked week one. And now I think Pettin certainly could bring part of that to the Bears. I've always liked and respected Mike Pettin, just didn't work out with him and the 12-year-old boy. So, yeah, I think that he could bring some secrets down to Chi-Town. Josh Imset. Somehow I see the Panthers finding a way to trade Teddy Turner and the 8th overall pick, what they offered to Detroit for Stafford, to Houston for Watson. What do you think? It's going to take more than that. I don't know if they would want Teddy either, because they would be looking to free up cap space so that they can roll over to future years. I think they would be just interested in picks. I don't think they're under any illusion they're going to be competitive anytime soon. But if Carolina sacked up and shipped 3 ones to Houston, I think that might get it done if they include number 8 overall. Plus, they can trade Teddy somewhere else. I think that he does have value and utility to... where? Maybe Washington. Yeah, probably not Washington. They can figure something out. Otherwise, they would just have to eat his contract. The what in WTF? Thoughts on a 3-team trade with Kirk, with Niners, Kirk? They give us Jimmy. No. Send Jimmy to the pass for a 3rd and 4th. Well, why so many moving parts? Because, it'd be great to sign Dak. I don't think the Cowboys will let him go. I think at minimum, they'll tag him for the second time, if not give him a long-term deal. And if the Niners knew that there was a market for Jimmy, why wouldn't they just deal directly so they would actually get full freight, as opposed to having to pay the Vikings middleman commission? Stanley Maros. Hypothetical combo between Ziggy and Zim about the future of the team. What do you think Zim's floor is to keep his job? I think they got to make the playoffs, and they have to at least make the NFC title game. I think that's his floor. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think they have to do that. Pulford Skull. Thoughts on AP saying he wants to go to Tampa Bay? Well, of course he's going to say that. He's looking for anywhere where they have a job next year. I don't know if he lands anywhere. Even though, yes, he is cheap. He'll make the league minimum. But a 2-down power running back, I don't know. Brett G. Oh, I do think it's funny, though. So Shady McCoy was on the Chiefs last year, didn't play in the Super Bowl, got a ring. Was on the Bucks this year, didn't play in the Super Bowl, and won a ring. So 0 downs played in 2 years and 2 rings. It's funny. Brett G. Congrats on Taylor Heineke on the 2-year, $8.5 million contract. Glad to see young guy clause way back and paid off. Yeah, for all the prognosticators that said that Taylor Heineke is going to go somewhere else, no, he wasn't going to leave the Turners. He wasn't going to leave Rivera. They have a lot of history, and I think that he will get a shot to compete for the starting job. Now, they certainly will still look to freshen things up. They were partially in on Stafford. They won't be in on Kirk Cousins. I think that they still could draft a quarterback. If Mac Jones falls to 19, I think that makes a lot of sense, or at minimum the maneuver. But yeah, Heineke will have a shot. Stanley Morrow, with Costanza retiring, if the Colts choose, how do you think Quentin Nelson would fare at left tackle? I'm sure he would be fine. I don't think he has the length to be be a full-time left tackle, but just given his tenacity and just given his athletic ability, I think that he would be fine. Like if they had to do it in a pinch, like the way that the Cowboys use Zach Martin at tackle this past year, I think it certainly could work. Time. Okay, am I crazy, or should we draft Kyle Pitts and then trade up for Christian Barmore? Depends what you give up to get back into range for Barmore. You probably have to give up both of the thirds. But if you came away with Pitts and Barmore, pending what... All right, what's up? Say you cleared up cap and then you signed Thuney in free agency and then you drafted Pitts and then you trade up for Barmore. You son of a B, I'm in. DMN 1447. After watching this year's Super Bowl, how much confidence do you have in this Vikings coaching staff rooster to go toe-to-toe with the likes of what we've seen? Can you see Zimmer coaching this team the way the Bucs were against the Chiefs on the biggest stage? Well, I mean, the Bucs were certainly beneficiaries of a number of Chiefs offensive line injuries. I mean, they had Mike freaking Remmers playing left tackle. But, I mean, they were strong and stout up front. And the Vikings will have that to a degree where you get Danielle Hunter back, you get Anthony Barr back, you got Michael Pierce back for the first time, and if you double and triple down on defensive line, you get a 3-tech that you trust, or play James Lynch, or DJ Wanham comes along, or if Fadi finally steps up in year 4, then yeah, you can have a fearsome front 7 and makes everything easier on the back end. Because, I mean, the Bucs defense, defensive backfield, I mean, Dean, Murphy, Bunting, Cockrell, they're not elite, but with that amazing pass rush, they can seem elite. And also Winfield. I mean, Winfield's fine as box safety coverage. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, can the Vikings get back to that point? Yes. Yes, they can. Stanley Morrows. I love Juan Thuney, but have no faith in Rick to make the move. He prefers second-tier free agent tackles, guards, blah, 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 blah. Well, he doesn't prefer them. That's just what he can get. Like when they were in on Russell Okung and Pretty Ricky Wagner, glad we missed on Wagner, by the way. And then they ended up with Reef and Remmers, right? So it does take two to tango. Like free agents have to sign here, and the Vikings have to come out with the top bid. And sometimes even when they have the top bid, players go elsewhere for a myriad of other reasons because they like the coaching staff, they like the scheme, they like the state income taxes, they like warm weather, they like lots of things. So there's lots of factors going. DMN 1447. Do you realistically believe Hunter will just pick up where he left off in the 2021 season, or will it take a few games? Well, the fact that there's no OTAs, no preseason, maybe he'll start out a little bit slow, but that rust will be kicked off pretty damn quickly because yeah, he will resume his pursuit of the all-time sack record and just get after it. Andrew Hansen. Say we trade the Hitman. How high priority would defensive line become in the draft? Oh, so trade the Hitman. Do you mean defensive back? Because I don't think it really impacts D-line. But yeah, if Harrison Smith is traded, so you'd ideally pick up an extra first. But yeah, doubling, tripling down on defensive back, especially Anthony Harris, if and when he leaves. So yeah, you'd be in potentially drafting a first-round safety, Jevon Holland, Trevor Morig, and then going Richie Grant, Gillespie. I mean, there's lots of options late day 2, early day 3 for the other safety. Corey Saylor. Can you discuss depth of this year's draft class related to the Vikings' positional needs? So Vikings' main positions of need, offensive line, specifically guard, a defensive tackle, we'll say safety, as well as, we'll say wide receiver 3. So wide receiver, so just right away lop off the top of the draft. So Jamar, Pitts, Chase, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Vikings probably going to be out of that range, right? But if you look at a bunch of the day 2, day 3 guys, so Kadarius Toney could fall into the second round, Dwayne Eskridge, Jalen Darden, Daz Newsome. I mean, there's Nico Collins, Amari Rodgers. There's so many freaking wide receivers that are good in this draft. So the Vikings, like, unless they get one of the big 4 early, they can certainly take their time. And there's going to be a lot of really unique wide receiver value rounds 4, rounds 5. Offensive line, I think the interior offensive line class, so it is Elijah Vera Tucker, it is Wyatt Davis, it is Landon Dickerson, and then a bit of a drop off. Then you get into Ben Cleveland and Deontay Browns and David Moores and Quinn Maynors and Trey Smiths. And also Jackson Carman. I do see him more as a guard as opposed to a tackle. Then 3-tech. So 3-tech's interesting because only one might go in the first round, and that's Christian Barmore. And then you have a lot of really high-end guys like Onwuzurike, like Ali McNeil, like Davion Nixon, like Jalen Twyman, like Darius Stills. So Vikings round 2, round 3. If they get back in round 2, they can certainly hammer there. And then safety, talk about safety a little bit. I think Holland and Morig are going to be your top 2 safeties. Probably. Actually, I don't think any of them are going to go first round. I think that they will be bunched up towards the top of the second round like the safety class was last year. So they could go, late 30s or into the 40s. And then you do have guys like Paris Ford and Caden Stearns and LeConte and Washington and Gillespie. And there's a lot of really talented dudes that will be in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Wiggins. Yeah. Next up, Lucas Johns. I see a lot of people saying they think Deshaun will go to the Niners. Thoughts? They'd have to throw everything at the Texans because they only have the number 12 overall pick. And if the Dolphins or the Jets really want to be in, I mean, they have a lot more ammo. Plus, they have multiple first-round picks this year, which is a lot more valuable than future picks because it's time value as well as exactly where the pick is going to be as opposed to leaving it variant. But also, I mean, Deshaun and his no-trade clause, that does factor in. So he can steer where he wants to go. Michael Merchant-Robles. Would you give up Kirk for Orlando Brown, then draft Trey Lance if he's there? Yes. Well, why would the Ravens trade for Kirk? Unless they're really out on Lamar Jackson, which I don't see. But, I mean, sure. Miles, where would be a good place to find film, the good and the bad, on the Vikings draft prospects? Well, YouTube is always a great place. And you can't really find all 22 on YouTube, but you can find, TV, telecopy, TV copy clips, and a lot of places do really good work there. There are some other proprietary locations that you can find that you can get your hands on some all 22, and that is definitely worth the time. Stanley Morris. How many cornerbacks do you see being taken in the first round? How many could go round 1 if there isn't 5 to 6 is input asterisk next this address first round? Let's see. So Surtain and Farley probably going to go before the Vikings pick, and for that we thank you. I think J.C. Horn will be a first round pick. Maybe Tyson Campbell. So guys like Tyson Campbell, guys like Asante Samuel Jr. See, can I go back to school? Yeah, if I had to bet, I would bet on 4. Yeah, I bet Campbell, Horn, Surtain, and Farley. Yeah. Next up, Tad Skull. You mentioning Jack in the Box last week made me think, which fast food or casual dining restaurant do you wish Minnesota had that we currently do not? Well, In-N-Out would be the easy answer, but also El Pollo Loco. Oh, man. Yes. Wait, no. Do we have El Pollo Loco? No. So El Pollo Loco, it's a regional chicken place. Think of Los Pollos Hermanos, but real. So it's a rotisserie grilled chicken place. Every piece of chicken. They do really good wings as well. I wish that Minnesota would pick up one of those. Also Waffle House, just because of the drunken lunacy. But yeah, El Pollo Loco. It's I believe it's California based. But yeah, it's really good. And as people are, and consumers are trending more towards healthier options, you do have this roasted grilled chicken. You do have healthy sides available. So I think this would catch on. Like if I had the mind to invest in a franchise, I would try and bring El Pollo Loco here. I think that it would really, really go boom. Next up, Mono Casual. I wonder what's up with all the optional defensive coach hires. Are the Vikings assembling in-house options in case Zimmer's departure? Might Zimmer have hinted retirement in the near future? I don't think it's that, because I think if Zimmer retires or is fired, I think everyone's getting washed out. But I don't think it's too many cooks. I think it's just the same number of cooks. Because if you think about it, say Adam Zimmer and Andre Patterson weren't given co-regional DC titles. I mean, you'd have the same number of coaches. And Gunther is basically just taking Dom Capers' senior defensive role. So, hey, Zimmer's just insulating himself with people that he knows and likes. So, there you go. RCP. Yeah, you know me. Would you want us to change to more of a half run, half pass team, or do you think we should still be a run first offense? Well, they're actually pretty balanced. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think that the Vikings are a lot more balanced than people give them credit for. And I do think that with Clint Kubiak in the saddle, the fact that he does have a quarterback and wide receiver background may lead to a little bit more YOLO, but also you'd be stupid to ignore Dalvin Cook. You just would. But, I mean, the whole running it all the time, always running on first down, always running on second 10, I don't think that's going to be in. Hey, let us know where you're watching from and give a couple shout-outs. Chris Danny Hansen, best sack celebration. Jared Allen, B-Rob, Everson, or Hunter? It's hard to beat Jared Allen and the calf rope. Actually, can we... I understand this is edge rushers, but can we put Linval's home run swing in there? That was really fun to see. All the B-Rob's fishing. God. I'm actually going to go B-Rob. Screw it. Ryan Topper. What do you think about trading back in the first and getting Boogie Basham and moving to a 3-4 and hopefully getting a second and trading back and grabbing Dylan Moses to play inside with Kendricks? I would be in. I would take Jabril Cox from LSU to pair up with Kendricks on the inside. But I really like Carlos Basham, man. I really, really like him. Yeah. Third of Von Johnson. How would you rank position value in the draft? Highest value position to lowest value position? Quarterback, edge rusher, left tackle, cornerback, wide receiver, center, guard. Actually, no. Wide receiver, defensive interior, center, guard, off-ball linebacker, safety, running back, and then specialist. Let's see here. Spartus Jacks. I still don't fully understand how compensatory picks work in the NFL. Can you explain it here, please? And follow-up question, what additional picks do you think the Vikings will receive in relation to this? So compensatory picks, it's calculated from what you do in free agency the year before. So it's straight free agents. So it's guys whose contracts have expired. So if they walk, a la Anthony Harris, better example. So Trey Waynes, Mac Alexander last year. Then you also factor in Jeromes. And then the guys that you sign off of expiring contracts, they do factor in. So it's a netting off, right? And it's a way to sort of balance so that teams just don't load up in free agency, and teams that develop players and then they let them walk in free agency, they can recoup some picks. The Ravens and the Patriots have been phenomenal at this, but it doesn't factor in. So if you cut a player, that doesn't factor into the equation. Also, if you sign a player that's been cut, that doesn't factor in either. So the Michael Pierce, his contract expired, his rookie deal expired with the Ravens, and the Vikings signed him. So that netted off against Jeromes, as well as, I believe, Sendejo. Now, this formula is proprietary, but places like Over the Cap and Spot Rack have done a pretty good job at sort of reverse engineering it. So the Vikings are in line, I believe, a 6th-round pick for Mackenzie Alexander, and It's probably going to be a 4th-round pick for Trey Waynes. It could have been a 3rd if he had hit some playing time incentives, because salary, playing time, and like Pro Bowls, accolades, that all factors in. It's a bit of a mess. But yeah, I think the Vikings will be in line for a 4th, maybe a 3rd. Maybe we'll get lucky, as well as a 6th this year. A couple shout-outs. Daniel Tuma, Skull from Maryland. What's up? Nathan S., Ontario, the 6th. Diego Suarez, Houston, H-Town. Fallon, Brooklyn Park. Justin Jones, New Bern, North Carolina. C-Line, Skull from Panama. Josiah Clarkin, Skull from La Crescent. Go Lancers. You guys are best. Thanks for coming along. Next up, Stanley. Miles. Which one is more important for the Vikings this year, free agency or the draft? Draft. Always draft. Free agency is a tax for teams that don't draft well. And teams that live on free agency, they don't pan out. But teams that supplement in free agency, they do fine. Stanley Maros. Why is Spielman safer than Zimmer? He hired Zim, extend him, form the team Zim wants. If Zim is on the hot seat, I think Rick should be just as hot or hotter. To a degree, but also Spielman has been here longer than Zimmer. And yes, Zimmer was hired by Spielman, but I think Spielman does have the ear of ownership. I think that he has sold them on his plans for the rebuild or the retool, as it were. So I think that since the Wilfs, they do like continuity, they do like stability, that if Zimmer was fired this next year, I think that they will give Spielman one more shot to pick another head coach. DP. Also, it hasn't been a lack of talent with the Vikings. I mean, yes, you can write off Kirk Cousins, but I mean, the team is good from top to bottom. Also, the way that they've handled the salary cap, Spielman and Brzezinski, it's real important. DP, who do you think the Packers, Bears, and Lions will draft for their first rounders? Lions at 7, Jalen Waddle. Bears at 20, I believe. Bears at 20, I'm going to say Tevin Jenkins, the tackle from Oklahoma State. And the Packers are 30, I believe. I think they're going to take Rondale Moore, and that sucks. Ira Coffin, greatest of all time at each position. All right, so quarterback Brady, running back Walter Payton, wide receiver Randy Moss, tight end Gronk, tackle Anthony Munoz, guard John Hanna or Larry Allen, although Randall McDaniel is like sneaky in there too. Center, probably Mike Webster. Yeah, rest in peace. Edge rusher Lawrence Taylor. Defensive 3 tech John Randall. I mean, there's no competing. Nose tackle, I might go with Vince Wilfork. Yeah. Off-ball linebacker, either Dick Butkus or Derek Brooks. Derek Brooks is so damn good, man. Back in the day. Cornerback, Revis or Mel Blount. Might give the slight edge to Revis. Free safety. Now, I understand that a lot of these names are slanted towards modern day, but, I mean, I'm a product of my upbringing and generation. Free safety, Ed Reed. Ed Reed was so damn good, man. And strong safety, I might go Palomalu, but it's hard to go against Ronnie Lott. I'm going to go Ronnie Lott. Kicker, Jan Stanerud, punter Ray Guy, and I don't know, long snapper. I don't know. I don't care. Next up, return man. Greatest kick returner, Cordero. Actually, I might say Gale Sayers. Actually, I might say Dante Hall. Best punt returner, Devin Hester. And Bears fans are so idiotic about this, where you say that Cordero is the best kick returner and Hester is the best punt returner. That means like, oh, no, Cordero's not better than Hester. Yes, he is. Cordero is the greatest kick returner of all time. Devin Hester was okay at kicks. He was unworldly at punt returns. They're two different things. But, Purple Vengeance. If you could have any other head coach in the league as a Vikings head coach, who would it be and why? I would take Belichick. Even though Belichick is older, and even though he got owned this year because Brady won a Super Bowl, Belichick, for my money, is still the best all-around head coach in the league. GM, a little bit rough, but beyond Belichick, I mean, you could say Andy Reid, sure. Pete's a little bit older, though. Who would you go with? I love me Mike Tomlin. Actually, if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with John Harbaugh, because the Ravens are always tight in terms of situational awareness. He's great at managing the clock. I think he's really good at managing the locker room. I think he gets a little bit pissy at times, like him and the Mike Vrabel handshake and logo thing. So, yeah. But I think that John Harbaugh is a phenomenal NFL head coach, and I would take him. You're balancing effectiveness. He's won a Super Bowl, as well as relative youth. Yeah. Even though I think he's 56. Actually, how old is he? It doesn't matter. Tristan Bailey, Percy Harvin, and Adrian Peterson, or Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. I'll go Percy and Adrian. Although Thielen is a better receiver and Dalvin is a better all-around running back, when Percy and Adrian were at their peak, I mean, there was just no effing with them. There's no effing with them. Klein, best head coach in the NFL right now. I guess you'd still have to say Andy Reid, even though they got humbled in the Super Bowl. Yeah, Andy Reid. But I didn't pick him as the coach that I would want because he is older. But I did say Belichick too. Go for audio greatness. Who is the most likely to fall to 14 that the Vikings have to draft, even though they might not be a position of need? I think if Fields or Lance got to 14, they'd have to consider it. Waddle, Smith, Chase, yes. Kyle Pitts, yes. Micah Parsons, yes. Surtain or Farley, yes. That's about it. Sam Olson. Who are some intriguing, fast wide receivers in the draft that can add vertical element to the passing game and also return kicks and punts? Marcus Stevenson from Houston, Jalen Darden from North Texas, Dwayne Eskridge from Western Michigan, row the boat. Shai Smith from South Carolina. Daz Newsome, UNC. There's lots of dudes this year. Chris Danny Hansen. Oh, Kadarius Toney, Florida. Yeah. Chris Danny Hansen. Oh, Rondale Moore, Purdue. Like I said, there's a lot. Tom Brady should take a pay cut to help the team to his DB12 diet, so Kirky Boy would do it. Well, ironically, Brady made the most this year than he ever has. He made like $28 million this season. But yeah, they should add that in. Stanley Morris, how many more years of 12-plus draft picks can we really pull off? Feel like eventually you're going to run out of roster space. Need to start making some moves, proven veterans, trade up, Well, part of it is just getting lotto tickets. And guys don't always have to make the roster. And you're just upping the level of competition. Where, say you have 15 draft picks as opposed to 7. And guys that you would normally bring in as UDFAs end up being 6th and 7th round picks, a level of talent. I think that overall it is a good practice, especially I think that the Vikings potentially foresaw the salary cap crunch. That's why they maneuvered to get 15 picks last year. That's why they have 10 this year. Plus, they're probably going to have 2 compensatory picks, and I'm sure that they'll end up with 12 to 15 this time around as well. Bill Baller 3. Can you go through the Vikings 21 schedule and predict each game? Yeah, we'll do that later. Tristan Bailey, odds we land Orlando Brown, probably 10%. I mean, it's not 0, but it's not very high either. Jacob McCullough, where does the 2017 Vikings rank on best defenses of the decade? I'll put the 2015 Broncos 1. I'll put the Legion of Boom 2013 2. I'll put 2017 Vikings 3. Yeah. Pulford Skull, Taylor Heineke signed a contract. Could you imagine having started with that salary? Would be kind of nice. No, the greatest competitive advantage in the current NFL is a young starting quarterback on his rookie deal. What would you do first with all the extra cap savings? Throw it all at Joe Thuney. Throw it all at Joe Thuney and Leonard Williams. And then just roll on. Or Shaq Barrett. Ooh, what's the deal? Seems like the Vikings are doing a lot this offseason. I think they will. I think they'll certainly take some cuts. They're not going to be going out and looking. Cyberbully123. In today's game, you need a great quarterback to win championships. If not, you need someone exciting to fill the seats. Kirk is neither. Bring back Kyle Sluter. I mean, I wouldn't be against it. Stanley Morris. I'm 1,000% on board with your pay and Ujulari over Rousseau. The measurables are a cute way of beefing him up. Then it goes so far, but I think that he has bust written all over him. Basham, Patrick Johnson, Washington. Unwizard. I know the other one. Yeah. I'm intrigued by Rousseau, but I think that his floor is pretty low too. Mainly the 1 year of production. Yeah, it's like he certainly would have benefited a lot by coming back and then replicating and progressing in 2020. But I mean, you're betting on the upside. And teams that can afford to take a gamble, like if Rousseau somehow ended up on the Ravens, I think that's a perfect spot for him. Or like the Titans, if he fell that far. Or held the Dolphins at their second first-round pick at 18. Yeah, but as a team that needs him to come in and contribute right away, I don't know if that's the best spot. Samuel Salinger, Skull or not. Rousseau at 17. Wyatt at 31. Shelvin at 78. Well, so Rousseau can play edge or defensive tackle. Shelvin, nose tackle. Wyatt Davis, probably going to have to wait for a hot second, but yeah, man. Yeah, sure. Skull. Ryan Topper, taking money out of it, would you rather have Anthony Barr or Eric Wilson? I'd rather have Barr. God, it's weird how, because Wilson's deficiencies, I don't know if he can improve on them. I think either you can tackle or you can't. And the same issues pop up again. And Anthony Barr, even though fans certainly have issues with him, he's just solid. He just is. David Ruiz. Also, you look on the roster at 1-to-1 replacements. I think Dye is a much better replacement for Wilson than he would be for Barr. David Ruiz. If the Colts don't re-sign Xavier Rhodes at the Vikings sign him in free agency, God, that'd be funny. I don't know if those bridges can be rebuilt. They were certainly burnt. I don't know. Emma Cassanaway, happy birthday, Mike Hughes. Hey, congratulations. You're still younger than Jeff Gladney. Stephen Lotz. I keep trying to use her Kobe on 2K21, but it keeps crashing. I don't know. Got another for you. Zach Robb, what rank do you realistically see our defense being next year? I could see us getting back into the top 12 because this is more than just a rebuild and depending on all young guys. I mean, you get Daniil friggin' Hunter back. You get probably Anthony Barr. You get Eric Kendricks back. You're going to be good automatically. Ryan Tourville. Give us your thoughts on best corner position that still needs to be filled. They got like 4 DCs now. They're fine. Griffin Career. How good do you think our defense can be if we draft Barmore and give Pearson Hunter back? Top 5. So I go back and forth on Barmore. I understand that it feels like you're giving up value since 14 seems a little bit rich for him. But, I mean, if he hits like 80% of his ceiling, he's a Pro Bowl player. If he hits 90% of his ceiling, he's an All-Pro. C-line, 40-year-old Michael Vick or Kirk Cousins? What's up Michael Vick in like a flag football league? It didn't quite work out. But winning games in 2021, I'll take Kirk. For sheer entertainment, I'll take Michael Vick. I bet you Michael Vick still has a cannon on him, man. Because when people talk about quarterbacks with the strongest arms, they'll bring up Marino and like Daryl LaMonica from back in the day. Jeff George, Jay Cutler, but Brett Favre. But Michael Vick had, maybe it's because he's left-handed and people just see it differently, but he had the most effortless, like flick of the wrist, 50, 60, 70 yards on a frozen rope. Michael Vick had extreme arm talent, man. Josh Imset, if countries around the world develop legitimate NFL rivaling leagues, thus creating a World Cup playoff, how much less meaningful would the Super Bowl be? NFL championship. Well, that's a lot of ifs and buts, but no, I think that even if, say, China or Australia or Canada or I don't know, Germany or England developed, professional leagues. Like, well, they have them. Like, that's where Mordstrom Boringer came from. Some German professional league, or hell, maybe they'll start a league in Russia. But I mean, they would have to get really, really big for it to water down the Super Bowl, because I mean, the NFL is still the NFL. Like, well, it's like the NBA, where there are tons of professional leagues around the globe, Europe, Asia, Australia, etc., South America. But I mean, the NBA is still the NBA. It is. Apex Legend Gamer, is Larry Warford going to be available after opting out last season? Should the Vikings sign him for competition along with another guard free agency? Yes. Even though he's not a scheme fit, he's good. Well rested as well. Fake username too. Predict who's the next quarterback to move in this quarterback carousel. I think Wentz gets traded. Yeah. I think that it comes down to the Bears and the Colts. Actually, we should check to make sure he's not traded during the stream. That seems to happen too. It's a different one. No. Oh, Willie McNeil. Ali McNeil is good, man. Oh, Matthew Stafford. Oh, I played with a torn UCL. I don't get the Matthew Stafford hype, and frankly, it's starting to piss me off. I feel like we're being gaslit. Or he's fine. He's a tough dude. I like him, but does he make the Rams a Super Bowl contender automatically? No. Now, you're telling me that every single deficiency with the Lions was about everyone else and not him? I mean, he was a big part of that. But, yeah. Gemini Mike, hit the gritty. I'll do half of one. So here, SpeedX. Would you trade our 14th pick and a second-round pick for Lamar Jackson? So Lamar Jackson is a ton of fun to watch, except I don't know if I'd want him to be my quarterback. You know what I mean? Where as a pure NFL fan, it is a lot of fun to watch him, but if you're building a franchise around him, I don't know if he can hold up stylistically later into his career. And like, his accuracy has come a long way. I don't know that if you're going to win a Super Bowl with it. And there's a big difference between regular season Lamar Jackson and playoff Lamar Jackson. So, no. But I'm glad that he's in the league. It's one of those weird spots. It's like, well, Lamar Jackson's obviously a way better player than Tim Tebow, but it's sort of like that where I love the Tebows in the league. I love watching Tebow. I do not want Tebow to be my quarterback, if that makes sense. Jake Lagavin, AJ Bouye one time. He'd be cheap, and they can sign him now since he got cut. Brett Vuzalis. What is your opinion about us hiring Paul Gunther as defensive assistant? Can't hurt. It's not our money. It'll be fine. All right, so that's it. That is the Daily Jeromes live stream. Apologies for being a little bit early today, but I got stuff to do. And since we're headed to an undisclosed location, I'm sure something big will happen. Kirk Cousins will probably be traded to the Niners for, I don't know, a sack of beans and a 6th-round pick. That's what we're going to get, except they'll be magical beans. Grow a beanstalk. Yeah, subscribe for Daily Vikings Takes. You know what to do. Off tomorrow because it's Thursday day. Yeah, we'll see you Monday. Skol.